Hello everyone and welcome back to my The Young and Restless 24 YouTube channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Martin grand homestretch will get underway while Chance passes along an indication. Phyllis and Sharon will also face their last chance to survive, so let's talk about what's coming up. Sharon and Phyllis will try to nail down where exactly in the room the camera is. The thing will be to turn it off and ruin the kidnapper's fun so that he'll eventually be forced to show his face. Phyllis and Sharon could be penalized for trying to make their own rules. This is a veritably elaborate trial that was designed with total control in mind, so Martin, who's putatively posing as his binary family, Alan, may avenge. Whatever the case, Martin will obviously have some kind of grand homestretch in store when it comes to this hijacking chaos. Phyllis and Sharon will find themselves in a hopeless struggle to survive, so there could be an explosive device with a preamble or indeed some kind of poisonous gas that gets pumped in the room. Of course, it's possible Alan will excuse himself from his engagement festivity with Tracy and head over to Havenhurst at some point. Could that lead to Alan getting fractured there? Nick and Billy will ultimately arrive at the clinic in expedience of pulling off a deliverance. Chance won't be far before and will come with updates on an indication, so this could help them save the internees and potentially expose Alan as well. It sounds like Martin may lose control of his plot, so that should bring some wild moments. The climax of this hijacking plot will deliver some scary twists and turns, but Phyllis and Sharon will score freedom in the end. Tracy will face total desolation when she realizes everything she allowed. She knew about Alan is a taradiddle. Although Tracy will continue making prognostications about her bright future with Alan, she'll inescapably face some crushing news soon. Billy and Nick will get a creepy mystery while Sharon and Phyllis set a prisoner trap. At Billy's place, he'll click on the link transferred to his phone that apparently offers further word on Havenhurst Psychiatric Clinic. That link will take Billy to a print from the footage of Sharon and Phyllis in prison, so he'll roll along with Nick as they look at it together. Billy will ultimately click commodity differently at the bottom of the screen, which will pull up a communication with a cranium and a creepy indication. Nick and Billy will pound over a mystery that asks, who'll pay the price to save the life of the mind? Once Billy and Nick hop in the auto, they'll head to Havenhurst to find Phyllis and Sharon. Chance will be called as well, but Nick and Billy won't stay for the bobbies, since they'll formally be on their way. Sharon and Phyllis will try to pick the cinch to make their escape, but it'll only manage to sound an alarm. Phyllis and Sharon will ultimately realize the kidnapper must have snuck in while they were sleeping to bring that last indication on a card. Sharon will suggest that perhaps they could take turns sleeping while the other intimately stays awake. That way, Sharon and Phyllis could try to catch their prisoner in the act. Phyllis will suppose perhaps they should just find the camera and turn it off rather, since that might force the kidnapper to make an appearance. Sharon will worry about not playing by the prisoner's rules, but Phyllis will principally contend they'll no way get out of there if they stay biddable. In the end, Phyllis and Sharon will agree to work together on shutting down the prisoner's capability to cover the trial. Jack and Diane Jenkins will gush over how thrilled they're over Tracy and Alan engagement news. In a GCAC suite, Alan, who's most likely his crooked twin, Martin Laurent. Alan will also want to talk marriage plans since he'll be eager to make Tracy his bridegroom as soon as possible. After Alan reflects on Tracy changing him, he'll contend he can't imagine his life without her. Alan's phone will ding constantly with announcements related to all the clinic drama, but he'll choose to keep his focus on Tracy and their romantic moment. Adam will have a sweet discussion with Victor about the advancements in their relationship. Adam will also make a vaticination about effects moving in the right direction with Chelsea, so Victor will be glad over his son's romantic updates. Chelsea will have Chloe over for breakfast and admit that although she's not officially back together with Adam, they're headed that way. Chloe will surprise Chelsea by admitting that she's happy for her if this is what Chelsea really wants. Since Chloe has learned her warnings no way count anyway, she'll just trust Chelsea's judgment on this. Latterly, Adam will find out Chloe has blessed their reunion, so Chelsea will tease him about not blowing it before they partake a kiss. Chelsea and Adam will try to navigate this new chapter together, so don't miss what's in store for these two. Martin as Sharon and Phyllis prisoner. It looks like Alan Evil Twin is behind this creepy trial, so let's talk about all the suggestions that have piled up. When Alan came home with Tracy, he marveled at the Abbott manse like it was his first time there. Although Alan eventually claimed he just no way appreciated the Abbott house ahead, it was surely a weird red flag. Numerous suckers suspected that Alan might turn out to be Martin, but the show no way really followed up on the idea, at least until now. Still, also he's supposedly been playing the part of Alan ever ago, if Martin was actually the twin who lived following the deck fall. Of course, that doesn't mean the show completely committed to the twist until this plot came along involving Sharon and Phyllis's strange prisoner. The Martin angle and setting effects in stir for the big reveal. There have been hints to suggest that Phyllis and Sharon prisoner might be a former internal case, especially since he's keeping them locked up in an abandoned psychiatric clinic. Indeed, Billy suggested that another madcap besides Ian might be to condemn for Sharon and Phyllis's fire, and Martin would clearly qualify as a madcap. Plus, we know Martin liked to suppose of himself as someone who had better ways than Alan when it came to cases. Martin pushed Ashley way too hard with his hypnotism tactics as he worked to prove he was superior to his family. Sharon and Phyllis's prisoner confessed that the game should be allowed. Of like in trial. The person before all this is treating Phyllis and Sharon like lab rats because he wants the satisfaction of being right about his styles. We know that Alan preliminarily talked about doing a cerebral study and requested an interview with Sharon for his book. Still, he may have come indeed more hung up with Sharon through her hypnotism sessions during the Ian and Jordan. If that was actually Martin. Perhaps Martin got it stuck in his head that he could help Sharon and Phyllis overcome their longtime feud by going to Axes. Martin probably delved Phyllis and Sharon's history for this design, which Sharon suspects is an attempt to prove their kidnapper's brilliance. Now Alan is suddenly set to make further appearances with Tracy, and it's worth noting that he seems a little off in Y&R's week of March 10th exercise videotape. It feels like the show's leaning into making Alan look a little nature like Martin, and Christopher Cousins may have been given the green light to play Alan like his evil twin ahead of this shocking disclosure. Sorely, Tracy's world may come crashing down. Formerly the verity about Alan is revealed. It looks like Tracy may go from allowing she's going to marry Alan to chancing out she's actually been duped by his sociopathic twin. Plenitude of stunning Martin news seems to be coming over, so we'll bring you more prognostications on the prisoner reveal and updates on the violent fate. The hijacking will turn deadly as the prisoner is eventually revealed. Sharon and Phyllis will be stunned when they eventually learn who's been holding them hostage, but who's it going to be? We know Ian putatively survived grounded on him opening his eyes and heaving in the ambulance. Ian was apparently cremated according to the morgue, but he may have charmed someone into helping him keep up the ruse of his fake demise. Still, if Ian was hanging around for vengeance, wouldn't he be busy targeting Victor for trying to kill him? Ian was recovering from a nearly fatal injury anyway, so it just doesn't feel like he's the malefactor. That brings us to an indication Billy will offer in the March 10th occasion. After ruling Ian out as an option, Billy considers the possibility that another madcap out there's responsible. Still, also Phyllis and Sharon's prisoner is maybe a manly character who's off his rocker, if Billy's right. That makes sense considering Sharon and Phyllis are being held in an abandoned psychiatric installation called Havenhurst. In the morning, Sharon considered the possibility that their prisoner was a former croaker. Or case there. Let's focus on the case angle and assume the person doing all this is mentally disturbed. Back when Alan first met Sharon, he mentioned that he was doing a cerebral study and would like to solicit her. Alan was writing a book, so let's keep that in mind for a moment. Under the circumstances, it may be time to readdress the proposition that Alan isn't really Alan. What if Martin is the twin who survived the deck fall in France and has been masquerading as Alan all these months? We can't forget about the time Alan walked in the Abbott manse with Tracy and acted like he'd no way been there ahead. It might have been because Martin had no way been there, unlike his family. Martin preliminarily worked for Alan and transcribed notes from his sessions, which led to him allowing he could do Alan's job better than him. When Martin ultimately posed as Alan and interacted with Ashley, he went to Axes with his hypnotism tactics. Now let's suppose about Sharon and Phyllis's strange prison situation. Does "end it" feel like a crooked, extreme form of remedy? Like perhaps the person responsible thinks they're helping while they're actually creating a total agony? In the March 10th occasion, Sharon will consider the possibility that someone wants them to see their brilliance through the riddle and performance of it all. Since it's been established that Alan was doing exploration for a book and that he wanted to talk to Sharon, maybe Martin delved all this word on her history with Phyllis. That fits because it would actually take some serious exploration to know what song was playing at the event Phyllis and Sharon fought at. No bone would just flash back that off the top of their head, meaning the person before all this doesn't inescapably have to be someone who knows Sharon and Phyllis all that well. They just have to be someone willing to put in the exploration. The kidnapper is potentially a former psychiatric case who's forced Phyllis and Sharon into a game that feels more like a crazed remedy session. We could clearly buy that Martin is the one running the show then and that he hopes to prove his extreme styles can pay off. As luck would have it, Alan is back on screen and is basically proposing to Tracy in the exercise videotape. Sharon and Phyllis will end up in a frantic fight to survive as the game goes off the rails, so stick with us for further prisoner prognostications and updates on all the shocking news ahead.